Okay, you can make a histogram directly from the data that you have here. Now, the only time you run into problems is in Google Sheets is when you have values in your data set that are the same as the boundaries of your classes here. So, for example, this 4 is the same as that 4. Okay, then this 8 is also, it's the upper boundary of that class, and then you got 12s that are the upper boundary of this class, and then you got 16, which is an upper boundary of this class. What happens is when Google Sheets goes to make the histogram, we wanted it to, in this first bar, we wanted to include all of the numbers that are bigger than 0, but less than or equal to 4. What Google Sheets does, it's going to pick all of the numbers that are between 0 and 4, but not including 4. So when we go to draw this histogram, instead of there being 8 values in that first bar, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instead of 8. And it's because of the way Google Sheets works. So if you realize that, then you can customize your histogram a little bit to avoid that problem. But that's going to occur anytime you've got values in your raw data that correspond to the breaks where your bars change from one to the other. All right, so we'll go ahead and make this. I'll show you what the problem looks like, and then I'll show you how to fix it. So to make a histogram directly from the raw data without making a table, we just select the raw data, and then I go up to Insert Chart, click on that, and most of the time Google Sheets will pick the right chart for you. See how it picked a histogram? If it didn't, then you just go down to Chart Type, you click on this, you scroll down, and at the bottom here, there's a histogram chart. All right, now if we drag this over and compare it, okay, it's got more bars than what we want. This should only have 4 bars. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the width of these bars. Right now, the width, if I go between 1 and 3.58, that's like 2.58. That's the width, and we want the width to be 4. So I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to go to histogram, and I'm going to change the width of the bucket, and I'm going to type in 4. And then enter. And now that changed the width of my buckets to 4. Now if I click on these, you're going to see that my count here from 1 to 5 is 8, but here we got 1 to 4, and then from 5 to 9 is 13, and 9 to 13 is 10, and 13 to 16 and a half is 7. But according to this, these numbers should be from 0 to 4, and then 4 to 9, or 4 to 8, etc. Now, there's nothing wrong with this histogram, all right? Because really, you can choose whatever you want for your intervals, okay? I could have made my intervals on this instead of following, this isn't written in stone that it's got to be from 0 to 4. Maybe I wanted to group it in 5s. And that gives me how it fits if I make the intervals 5. Okay, but let's change it back to 4. Okay, now in order to avoid that problem, if I go from 0 to 16 on here so that it matches a normal histogram, that's when you get the incorrect numbers. So I'm going to go to Customize, Horizontal Axis, and I'm going to go from 0 to 16. All right, now the numbers are from 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to, everything looks great. But when I click on these, my counts are off. This one has 7, and up here it's 8, 13. This one has 9, it's supposed to have 10. And this one's got 8, but it's supposed to have 7. And that's because it's putting these values that happened right at the borders, you know, like this 4 is getting put into the next bar. Okay, this 8 is getting put into the next bar. All right, the 12s are getting put into the next bar. So to alleviate that problem, we're not going to have a histogram that exactly starts at 0 and goes to 4. What you do is you go to the horizontal axis here, and you're going to make your minimum, or your minimum value, the smallest value in your data list, which is 1, and your maximum value, the largest in your data list. Now, what you're going to do that's a little different is you're going to subtract a little amount from each one of these. So, for example, 0.5. So 1 minus 0.5 would be 0.5. And then I'm going to add that same amount to 16. Okay, and now if we look at our points here, we get the right counts. So from 0 to 8, or this is really 0 to 4, this is really 4 to 8, this is really 8 to 12, and then our last count is 12 to 16. And the numbers are correct, but there is no way to make a histogram directly from the raw data so that it looks exactly like this because of the way histograms work in Google Sheets.